jump from the top of the Empire State, screaming Geronimo the whole way down. I love her so bad, well, she wrecks me.
My name is Sutton. I'm with the Justice Department.
I am an American citizen, and I demand to see Alice Sutton.
He probably is crazy, but there's something about Jerry.
Jerry Fletcher has theories.
The whole Vietnam War was fought over a bet that Howard Hughes lost to Aristotle Onassis.
Some would call his theories crazy.
You're telling me that NASA is going to kill the President of the United States with an earthquake?
Not exactly the kind of thing a Secret Service agent can, just throw himself on top of.
He writes them in his newsletter.
This is our third issue this year. Conspiracy theory.
He sends them out.
Look, I feel kind of naked back here. Could we get out of here?
Please don't tell me you're naked back there.
It's just a figure of speech. Could we go?
And she is the only one he trusts.
I've loved you since the first time I ever saw you.
Jerry, you don't love me.
I don't?
Now, one of his theories is true.
Can you prove any of this?
Absolutely not.
Only he doesn't know which one.
Must have hit a nerve with one of those articles in there.
But his enemies do.
How many subscribers do you have?
5.
Well, they're dead.
I have to find Jerry.
Bingo!
I got him. There he is.
These things that you're talking about, you did them to Jerry.
Jerry is very dangerous. What are you going to do?
I'm going to find him because he'd find me.
Pick him up, heading for the bridge.
By nature, I'm not a violent man. If you hurt Alice, I'll kill you.
I'm torching my hub. Get down this hole. This way.
Conspiracy Theory. Directed by Richard Donner.
Whew! I am so excited. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love this movie, and I cut it off right before the end there. I know, but he's like, kiss me. And I mean, it's good stuff. But Richard Donner, the brilliant Richard Donner, who gave us the Superman, the OG Superman movies. I mean, guys, if you take nothing away from these nostalgic streams, go watch anything from Richard Donner between the 80s and the 2000s. You'll not be disappointed. It's just fantastic. I absolutely love this movie, and it's pretty fitting considering the type of world that we live in today. But I've had this one on my list for a bit, and really just wanted to dive into it with you guys. Gosh, if that trailer didn't get you excited and hyped and want to see this movie, then nothing will. That's just kind of the God's honest truth. This is such a exciting, fun adventure, and it's a thriller. And so Jerry, who is played by Mel Gibson, knows something, but he doesn't know what he knows. But whatever it is, it's extremely detrimental to these powers that be. And Patrick Stewart is phenomenal in this movie, something that I have not been able to say of some of his recent work. I will just put it that way, as lightly as I possibly can. But just so much that we're going to get to dive into and break down Barney style and just enjoy the ever-loving crap out of the show. And I promise I won't ruin it. But I do have a couple of things that I have to get to first. So first and foremost, on the donation side for $5 Canadian, Raj Williams, thank you so much for the support, Raj. I greatly appreciate it. Says, this is a great movie to discuss, Lady G. Excellent choice. The stream should be good tonight. Thank you, Raj. I genuinely hope that it is. I am really looking forward to it. This is one of my favorite movies. And it's just, there's so much that I love about it. And it rolls really well into next week's movie. We're kind of in I'm not really sure what we're going to call this type of theming, but I already know what I've obviously got my weeks planned out, but I'll give you guys a little sneak peek into next week. Next week's movie is The Net with Sandra Bullock. So that's another really good one. And they're both kind of in this same vein. But yes, this movie is going to be exciting, and I'm so pumped to talk about it with you guys. But Lord Thoth, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You became an Ocarina member. You're my first one. Thank you. Mwah. I appreciate you so much. And my other fellow wrench, Chris Persia. Thank you. Oh my goodness. You guys are too sweet. You've joined at the fellowship level. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. Miss Martin. Hello, Teresa. Good evening, Miss Martin Muses. Oh my goodness. All right. So, without further ado, we are going to get into a conspiracy theory, specifically the movie. But nonetheless, it's going to be a very, very fun time. I am desperately looking forward to it. And I did not know this, Chris Persia. Thank you. That this was the reason that he was able to land, that Stewart was able to land Professor X. I thought that was actually more because of Star Trek. So thank you for that, Chris Persia. I really appreciate it. I agree, Chris Persia. Yes. So this movie, if you have ever had questions or concerns, or you just thought that something seemed a little off, well, you're not alone. It's in this movie, it's so insane because the things that Jerry knows, he doesn't understand why he knows them. But I love his introduction in this movie where he's a taxi cab driver. And oh my gosh, talk about nostalgic. I mean, you don't really see taxi cab drivers anymore. Not the way that they used to be very prominent. You saw taxi cab drivers in almost every film. I mean, my God, there's literally a show called Taxi Cab, a film called Taxi Cab. And they're just, they are literally part of the very lifeblood that is New York City, especially, but big cities in general. And I love how, he's just sort of rambling. He's talking about fluoride in the water, and he's like, it's good for our teeth. Our teeth is like, he's saying it like it's the most ridiculous thing that you could possibly imagine. And what, like, we're sitting here, we're like, but isn't fluoride good for your teeth? Like, I'm confused. I thought it was good for your teeth. And so he goes down this list of stuff, and because he's a taxi cab driver, he picks up all of this. He picks up all this kind of knowledge, all these random things that sort of happen, and he just spits them back at whomever he's driving around the city that evening or that day. But he seems to either have a he's got a pin on everyone and everything, and he sort of knows like what's happening throughout the whole city, and he's like, oh no, we don't want to go that way, because if we go that way, then you're going to be in trouble. But like, his person is like, no, we're going this way, and he's like, I'm telling you, like, that's not the way you want to go. And the dude's like, just go that way. And so it's really interesting because he uses that aspect of being a taxi cab driver to not necessarily, he isn't looking for bias confirmation. It's kind of the opposite almost. Some of these conspiracy theories are born out of conversations that he overhears or has in the cab. So like, it could be a really important businessman who is on the phone and they're talking about stocks, and he'll and the guy will be saying something off the cuff, But Jerry hears it and he's like, okay, well, this attaches with what I heard earlier in the day, and this was the news clipping from yesterday. And if I combine all of that, this is where we're at. So this is what could possibly happen. And I don't know if you guys caught it, but in the trailer, he's got this newsletter and he sends it out, and he's got 5 subscribers to his newsletter. And like he's really proud of it, and he should be, because he isn't even aware of this. Like, he has a feeling that he's being watched, but he doesn't know why, and he can't explain it. And when it's all said and done, they are in fact trying to like shadow ban it, or like, keep him quiet. But so they're going to let him talk as much as he possibly wants until it hits a nerve. And then like he hits the nail on the head, and all of a sudden, like, people who his subscribers, they start dying. And people who wrote into him about like these stealth helicopters, they disappear. Like, he can't, like, okay, he's just missing. And Jerry, so Julia Roberts' character's name is Alice, and she's like, look, they're just missing right now. And Jerry's like, no, they're dead. I know they're dead. And he's actually running through the city. So he gets Alice to sort of come out of her office, and he can't see the pieces. Like, he has all of them, but he can't see how they're fitting together. Like, what is it that he knows that is attached to something bigger? Like, what is the piece he's missing, or what is the piece he's got the wrong way? How does this all fit together? And he's convinced that Alice is the key, but he doesn't understand why. And there's a very specific reason why he's drawn to Alice. But because I know not all of you have seen this movie, I am not going to tell you why. But when you find out the reason, you're like, holy bejesus. Like, this isn't how any of this was supposed to go. I mean, it involves this massive, massive cover-up. It's not a conspiracy. It's a cover-up, right? And Jerry knows about it, but he doesn't realize that he knows. And it all ties back to Alice and her father and her father's death. And that's all I'm going to give you, because I really want you guys to go watch this one. It is like, I honest to God think that this is one of the best movies I have ever watched. And when I rewatched it to prep for this stream, I watched it 3 times because I was just like, oh my God, like, this is so good. And then I was realizing that I was catching stuff that I never caught before. And I love when movies do that, where you catch little hints or there's little nods, and it flows so well. I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's going to literally just blow your mind if you've never seen it. And if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about, and you're probably wanting to go and watch it right now. I promise this is going to be a short stream. It's only going to be 45 minutes. I've got other obligations tonight, but I wanted to be here for you guys. I'm going to try to never miss a nostalgic Nirvana on Thursdays, because I need this. I don't know if you guys need this as much as I do, but this is the kind of escapism that I live for. I get so lost in this story, and I feel like I'm torn between Alice and I'm torn between Jerry. And like, you understand what Alice is saying, because she works in the government. She's like got these super high clearances, so she would know some of this stuff that, like, she's clearly like looking at Jerry and like, look, I have the clearances, I have the memos, I have the conversations. And it's what you're saying just is insane on its face, because we don't do that. And then when she sort of gets pulled into this world, not because of Jerry, but because of something else and someone else, she's starting to question everything that she knows and everything that she sees. And the best part, honestly, of this whole movie for me is how prepared Jerry is. He's got Alice in his apartment, and they're talking because she's like, okay, tell me, like, can you prove any of this? Show me what you got, because she's looking at his newsletter and he's convinced her that somebody is after him, and she's basically there to humor him. And she's like, okay, show me what you've got, and like, we'll take a look. He's like, well, it's back at my apartment. I can't bring it to you. I can't, like, if I take it out, that's when they'll take me, right? He's very paranoid. But turns out someone is actually after him, and he's not paranoid, because they shoot gas. So they shoot up his place, fill it with gas, but he has the whole thing set up as a fire trap. It doesn't touch the rest of the building. He's reinforced his entire apartment so that it just burns his apartment, and it disintegrates everything, right? Just wipes it out. And of course, there's little bits and pieces left over that they're able to figure out. But he, like, shoves her down into this hole that's in the back corner that is his escape route if this ever happened, right? And she's like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, what do you know, Jerry? What do you know, Jerry? And he's like, I don't know. It's something. And that's when she's like, we need to figure out exactly which one of your like, where's your newsletter? Where's your subscribers? What's going on? And, she's trying to use her connections without raising any flags. But of course, because she's starting to look up the people that are connected with Jerry, it's throwing up red flags all over the place. And so she gets a visit. Honestly, by like a very young Patrick Stewart. He is Dr. Jonas. Yes, I said it with that accent because it's just, I love it. Gets a visit, and Dr. Jonas is trying to convince her that Jerry is unwell and he's dangerous, and he he's latched onto her as the object of his obsession with all of these other conspiracy theories. And then Alice is starting to learn about Dr. Jonas and what exactly it is that he does. And it is a very, very, very dark, I don't think I said very enough. One more time. Very dark road. Because the man is the equivalent of, like, he is a sociopath. Like, he is void of any emotion, and he is a narcissistic sociopath to the T, and Patrick Stewart plays him perfectly. He is such a good bad guy that it's a little bit scary. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the casting for this whole thing is really quite brilliant. It's wonderfully done. But the writing and the chemistry between Gibson and Roberts really just takes the cake. Richard Donner knows what he is doing. Like, there's a reason his films are still stand the test of time. So it's just the fantastic build up to this. And when you realize and you learn what Jerry has been through, you're like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, what human could actually go through this and not suffer some kind of just horrific, terrible, horrible type of consequences for this? Like, humans aren't meant to go through that kind of stuff. It's just not how it's not how it's done. And what's even more shocking is that other humans did this to him. And so you're stunned when you realize that maybe Jerry isn't all cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Maybe there is some validity to what he has been saying. And you really don't want to believe it because some of the stuff is super nutty. And I maintain that Richard Donner threw in some, like, legitimate conspiracy theories along with some ridiculous ones. Like I said, the intro where Jerry is talking about fluoride in the water and what it does and everything, and then they're trying to sell it to us that it's good for our teeth. I remember that argument. I was really, really young, but people were saying that they were putting fluoride in the water to slowly poison us and to cause thyroid issues. And, you know, the benefits of fluoride in the water for the teeth did not outweigh all of these other things. Like fluoride was linked to cancer and thyroid issues and vision issues and all kinds of stuff. And now fluoride's been in the water for like 25 years. But if you look around, we do have a bunch of thyroid issues and a bunch of cancer issues and a lot. There are more children, and people are like, oh, well, it's because optometry has advanced so much. I'm going to tell you this. They had glasses in the 80s, and it's still basically the exact same tests and exams. It's just the instrumentation has gotten a little bit fancier. We definitely have more people with corrective vision needs now than we have ever had before. And I mean that in like, I don't mean that in like a direct population, like, well, of course we do because the population has grown. No, I mean, comparatively speaking, if you look at the percentages, it is astronomical, the percentage of people that have vision correction needs nowadays. I remember the whole, if you eat carrots, it's good for your eyes. Don't lay down when you watch TV because you're going to get an astigmatism. And then you had other people saying, no, that's just a bunch of lies. That's not true. But now you look at between screen time increasing exponentially, especially for toddlers, and migraines and vision issues and concentration issues are all off the charts. I mean, we're talking where it was maybe 8.5% of the population in the 80s. It's now somewhere in like the 47%. It's basically a 50-50 split in the population. And it's just insane when you think about those numbers because that's an exponential growth. And people are like, oh, well, it's because we know the signs and there's more testing. Yeah, I hear you, but you're still wrong. Because if this was a natural occurrence, then it should be in some way, shape, or form linked to genetics. But you have siblings that have 20/10 vision, so they can see insanely well. Like, I mean, that's incredible vision. And then their siblings are in like, you know, 50/20 vision if they're lucky, and they're in these, you know, the same, like these basically these bifocal lenses and everything like that. So it's really interesting when you start to think about, oh, watch, I'm gonna get yanked off because I'm talking about this stuff, and it's so old. These conspiracy theories are so old, but God, stuff keeps coming true. It's kind of terrifying, actually. But the idea that some of this, like that there are people in our government who go through this and are made to forget through different conditioning and different training is not outside the realm of possibility. I mean, the CIA is not exactly I'm just saying the CIA is not known for their penchant of honesty. That, like, we'll just put it that way. But I have this other little clip that I'm gonna share with you guys. This is when Jerry starts to realize that people who subscribe to, like, these are the people that have been writing to him in code and in message, and they're like, he's trying to crack the code basically, but he's having difficulty, and so he wants help, but he's realizing he can't find these people anymore, or these people have sort of just stopped talking to him. But this is when he's kind of cracking a conspiracy code. I love what he does with the newspaper too. Like, so he's going through and he's highlighting stuff and he's like, okay, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So he's had conversations. Oh, he's got a whole drawer for Clinton. That would not go over in today's world at all. There's no way you could there's no way you could put that in a movie. It would not fly. But so yeah, this is his newsletter that he sends out. And it's just like, he's just a normal guy. And it makes him, like, personally for me, this makes his character a little bit more endearing. I really, really, really enjoy watching him sort of grow and into his character. And you're like, what does this guy do? He seems like a nut job. Like, clearly, you know, he's screaming about fluoride, and he's hollering about he's hollering about how an earthquake is going to be used to kill the president, and there's going to be drones in the area, and there's these super secret helicopters that are stealth and nobody can hear. And you're like, man, like, this guy is literally off his rocker. And then you see, like, he's just making himself a cup of coffee. He's just normal. His normal day, he's making a cup of coffee. But God, I would pay to see what was in that Clinton drawer. I am telling you right now. Like, I didn't realize that was in this particular clip, but like, it was the second time that I watched this movie prepping for the stream, and I was like, oh, that would not fly in today's world at all. It would not in any way, shape, or form fly. I mean, oh man, there would be all kinds of stuff. Just like, mainstream media would come out and they would be like, this movie is so aggressive. It's a forever Trumper who's just trying to smear Clinton when she actually, you know, she's this brave, wonderful woman, and it's just, they're trying to distract from all of the orange mad bad stuff. Like, that's literally, you know that that's what they would do, because they have nothing else at all. Nothing else. Yes, 25 years ago was a totally different world. We had optimism. We were going places. We had the year 2000. It was going to be a new millennia. We were going to put men on Mars. We were going to just cure cancer. Computers were going to be able to take care of all the daily menial tasks so that we could focus on, you know, being healthy of mind, healthy of body, and working on all of these studies on, like, how to elongate your life, and how can you have a stronger, like, how can you be a better person, or what's the meaning of life, what's to the deep oceans, how can we clean up the oceans, how can we stop the ozone layer from depleting, you know, can we save the Great Barrier Reef? There was all of this potential and all of this hope and all of this optimism, and you get none of that today. It's a bunch of nihilism, and it is going, I will put it this way. Everything that I have seen come out since roughly 2015, 2014, with the exception of very few films, this point in cinematic history and this point in human history is going to be looked back at as Dark Ages #2. And I hope to God that it doesn't last as long as the first Dark Ages, because that was centuries of misery and pain and hatred and nihilism and despair. And if we refuse to learn from that, then honestly, I don't know. But we need to get back to heroes being heroes, villains being villains, optimism and the human spirit and overcoming need to be the forms of the day, because this is what we have arrived at, and we've gone so far backwards that it can't even be like, it can't really even be put into words to be described. So when we watch movies like this and we realize that, yeah, there's, you know, there is something behind the curtain. There is something more. And we're the ones who have to be like, no, this isn't okay, or this is what we're going to do, or I refuse to kowtow to your nihilistic view of the world. I am going to remain optimistic, and I'm going to bring as many people up with me as I possibly can. Because it is so easy to yank people down. But if you can pull them up, that is something else entirely. And that is truly, truly incredible. So speaking of pulling people up and being there for them, Cal G, thank you so much for $3. Says, what's good, lady? First time seeing this film today. Oh my God, I'm so excited for you in preparation for the stream. And man, that intro. Yes, yes. That's one, I just said this. That's one of my favorite ways of introducing a character. Had no idea Richard Donner directed this. Mel Gibson acted his butt off. I'm telling you. Oh my God, Cal G, right? I'm telling you, it is so incredible. It's this movie. Oh, I'm so glad you watched it, Cal G. Isn't it fan-freaking-tastic? And this is why I'm not going to give you huge details, guys. I'm telling you, if you watch this, you're going to want to watch it again and again and again and again. It's incredibly well written. It's perfectly cast. It's fantastically acted. And the really terrifying part is none of this, like, it starts out where you're like, okay, he's just way off the deep end, like I said. But as you start to sort of pull back the veil and you start to put the pieces together, you're like, okay, maybe this isn't outside the realm of possibility. And I saw it earlier in the chat, but it's here it is, Jacob Ironside. Yes. But nowadays, they do have drones and stealth helicopters. Yes, they do. That's what I'm saying. Richard Donner, I feel, knew a lot of stuff, and he used film to sort as like a warning, as like a precursor, as a this is how, like, this is what is coming. And this is how we need to prepare for it. Like, I'm pretty sure Richard Donner was based. I mean, I have no doubt of it. Look at the man's films. And quite frankly, he and Mel Gibson had a heck of a run. He and Mel Gibson have turned out some amazing stuff. I might have to do a nostalgia stream solely on Donner and Mel Gibson films, and then just maybe Donner films, and then maybe just Mel Gibson films. Because, guys, I'm telling you, it is some of the best writing put to screen ever. Mel Gibson just freaking knocks it out of the park. I cannot tell you how fan-freaking-tastic this movie is without spoiling much more of it. But I'm telling you, there is a part in here where Alice learns something about her father, and like, oh God, you get wrecked. You're just like, dang, holy crap. That's okay. Well, that happened. That's a thing. That is a thing, and it has happened. And I'm telling you, you're sitting there and you're like, no way. No way. Oh my gosh. It's like, Richard Donner, I think, is perhaps one of the most underrated directors, screenwriter, like, just, I believe, I'm going to get it wrong. The writer for this film, his first name is Brian, and I never know how to say his last name. It's like Helgeland or Hegeland. I don't know how to say it. But the two of them combined, this was lightning in a bottle. But the thing is, Richard Donner kept delivering time and time again. And you know what? Like, people will be like, well, there's, like, he's got similar tropes. Yes, but here's the thing. It's not about doing everything brand new or subverting everything to try and, confuse your audience or prove that you're smarter than everybody when you're not. If you can do tropes in ways that deliver and are just so perfectly done, it doesn't matter that they're tropes, because you have blown it out of the water and you have exceeded everybody's expectations. And that is what Richard Donner has managed to do time and time again. So I am definitely going to have a nostalgia stream about Richard Donner and Mel Gibson films, Richard Donner films, and then Mel Gibson films, both acted and directed, because just freaking wow. And I guess he's working on a new project. I think it's called The Resurrection. I don't know that for sure. But if anybody knows, he's the one who did The Passion of the Christ, which literally transformed Christian entertainment. It literally transformed Christian entertainment around the world. And it was, I think, just, it's watched. It's Easter season. It's Lent right now. The idea that, you know, you get to enjoy this again, and you get to be a part of it, and really like witness the Passion of the Christ. He does it so well, so incredibly well. Apocalypto, another, just knocked it out of the park. I don't know if you guys saw Fat Man. Highly recommend that movie too. It is definitely an adult Christmas film for sure. It's so good. But you will never, I have yet to be disappointed by a Richard Donner film. Yes, Scotty J. I love Maverick 2. It's one of my favorite Westerns, and it always gets overlooked, but I absolutely love that movie so much. John Ford and John Wayne? What's that about, Raj? I don't understand. I'm sorry. If you can explain in the chat, because I don't know what you mean by that, but I mean, I'm all for them. John Ford and John Wayne. Like, they were both pretty industrial and important men. Oh, is that what you're getting at? Like, we had men that were heroes back then? Yeah, for sure. And it's just, director and actor partnerships. Yes, that is fair. Hold the phone. Outcasts Creative. Hi there. And you got to meet Richard Donner. Count me jealous. Oh my gosh. He's like, what? Could you tell me, was he as awesome in real life as he was like, I imagine someone who can make movies that brilliant is a pretty, at least charismatic person in real life. And it just sort of transferred over to the screen. But I'm just making those assumptions. Yes, Fat Man was amazing. But guys, honestly, I have yet to be disappointed by a Richard Donner film. And I mean that honest to God's truth. If it's got Richard Donner's name on it, give it a watch. And I can't say that about very many, honestly, I can't say that about any directors or producers nowadays. It's so I wish there was a way to sort of like put it into perspective of just how important he is. Shane Nolan, he actually died in several months ago, almost a year now. It was July. I think it was either on Independence Day or the day, so it was either July 4th or July 5th of 2021. So it's been gosh, what is that? 5, 8. So it's been 9-10 months since he passed away. So yeah, it's hey, Project Storytime. I'm returning your drive-by hail. Hello. Okay, so Outcasts Creative says he used to teach young directors in LA. A friend of mine was on the course and knew I was a big fan. They called me and passed the phone to him. Oh my God. You got to have a conversation with Richard Donner? Oh, be still my heart. Oh, that was yeah. Yes, Shane Nolan, rest in peace. Richard Donner, there will never be another like him. It's not possible. It's not possible. Yes, Fat Man was dark. That's why I said it's definitely an adult Christmas movie, Raj. It's so good, but it is brutal. It is dark. It's Mel Gibson he's just, yeah. I wouldn't want to screw with him, that's for sure. Not in that kind of mood. Definitely want to be on Santa's good list. Yes, very much so. But even Santa wasn't on Santa's good list for a bit, but it's all just yes, Outcast Creatives. Richard Donner passing was a huge loss to the filmmaking community, to fans, to anybody. Like, I would have loved, I always thought it was a huge slap in. So, okay. Story time. I always thought it was actually a really huge slap in the face that they never brought Richard Donner on for Henry Cavill's Superman. I don't know for a fact whether or not Henry Cavill ever got to speak to Richard Donner. I know that that would probably have meant a lot to, I would assume it would mean a lot to Henry Cavill since he was playing Superman, but it's just, it's so sad that Richard Donner was really sort of shunned later in life. And I think it was because he was so brilliant and because he did stuff like this. He pushed the envelope, he challenged the message. And he is like, we need Richard. If we ever needed Richard Donner, it is right now. You guys really need to go check out his films because they will rock your world. They really will. Yes, they didn't let Donner finish Superman 2, and you know, as we all know, like Superman 3 was an absolute just it wasn't Donner, obviously. And they have a Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, but it's not the same. And of course, you know, like Lethal Weapon is perhaps my favorite film series. And he was just, all of his work is just simply brilliant. If you guys haven't seen, don't worry, we've got, oh, this is gonna roll in so beautifully because I got Lethal Weapon on my list, all 4 of them. I love all freaking 4. And Joe Pesci being added to the cast was just, it was fireworks. I loved it. Yes, Shane Nolan, envy is a terrible thing, a very terrible thing. And I would have loved to have been able to meet Richard Donner. Like, he has some of my best, like, I have so many great memories from his films and so many great lessons. I absolutely love it. But Outcast says, I think Donner and Cavill did meet, but it was way before he was cast as Superman. He fell out with the Salkinds who tried to blacklist him. No, they didn't try. They successfully blacklisted Richard Donner because he was, guys, Richard Donner does not get enough credit, like near enough. He was so incredibly talented. He's a huge staple in pop culture from even like, I think as early as, I want to say like I think his first, I think it was television in the 60s is really what sort of got him going. And you know, he just grew from there, and then he just kind of like took off in the 70s and couldn't be held back. And you know, Superman came out in 78 and it was just fantastic. I can't remember when The Omen came out, but I know he was the brain behind The Omen too. And I think that was a 75. It might have been 76. I don't know. I don't have all of that in front of me. But like everything that man has touched is just, like I said, I have no complaints. Nothing that I have picked up from that has Richard Donner's name on it has ever disappointed me. And I can't say that about a lot of directors. It's okay, so 76. Okay, so the Omen was 76. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, yeah, Richard Donner has been just he's been in film and television since the 60s, but like the 70s hit and it was like a beast got unleashed. And we had him for the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And then we got him for a little bit in early 2000s because I know he did 16 Blocks and that came out in 2006. I remember going to that in theaters. And, you know, that was really kind of the last thing he did because Hollywood is Hollywood. I'll just put it that way. But, you know, I think he really just with this particular film, he nails it. It's just so perfect in every way, shape, and form. As the introduction of Jerry's character, the introduction of Alice's character, the way that it all weaves together, when you start to realize that maybe this guy isn't as crazy as I thought he was. Maybe there's something actually going on here that I can't quite see or I can't quite conceptualize yet. So let me go ahead and see what I can sort of uncover with Jerry. Like what can I find out? And which one of his theories is true? Are they all true? Are some of them partially true? Did he only get, is it that he hasn't even treaded across the truth yet, but he's getting too close to it? And it's just, guys, I can't recommend it enough. It's going to have you on the edge of your seat. You're going to have such a good time. And you are going to be able to say, I need to watch that again. I need to watch that again. Oh my God, little chat. I wasn't going to say that, but since you've dropped it in the chat, yes. Oh, you won't. That song will not ever, you'll never be able to listen to it the same way again. And that is what brilliant movies can do. They can take a soundtrack, a score, a song that you have heard 1,000 times, and they can make you view it in a completely different light. It's just pure talent, and it is something that we do not get in today's world, especially not from current Hollywood. But I always did think that Richard Donner not being invited to at least consult on Henry Cavill's Superman was a more than a slap in the face. They straight up spit in Richard Donner's face with that. And it was actually part of the reason why I was not a huge fan of Henry Cavill's Superman. I was like, how are you going to be cast as Superman and not try to take pointers from Richard Donner? I mean, you can't, it's not like you can go get Christopher Reeve. You can't do that, you know? So the fact that you had the ability to communicate with Richard Donner while you were in the red cape and you didn't do it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he did or not, but I know the studio never reached out to Richard Donner. And I think that's just a shame. I think it's criminal, quite frankly. But guys, just give this movie a watch. You will not regret it. And it will totally psych you up for next week's nostalgic Nirvana, which is The Net, starring Sandra Bullock. So yes, little Chad, it absolutely is. I am super excited to see you guys next week. And I'm not going to tell you anything else about conspiracy theory other than you should really, truly go give it a watch and then just start questioning your entire life because that's what it makes you do. Like I said, tonight, we've been going for a little less than an hour. I don't know. I think that's just a great way to end it. You know, we're very much in this in this type of place where we need this escapism and we need this fun and we need this optimism and the fact that, you know, the human spirit will overcome. And guys, you will not be disappointed in this at all in any way, shape, or form. I promise you. Like I've said before, I am never going to recommend anything that I have not watched myself and don't love. That I have not watched, read, listened to, or experienced. You know, like if I was to recommend a location, or, you know, one of these days I might just do like a camping nostalgic Nirvana and call it my unplugged session. Like, this is where you can go to completely unplug and just really reconnect with yourself and your soul. So I might do one of that. But next week it is the absolute opposite of unplugged. It is the net. So I can't wait to talk about it with you guys next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And it would just, it means the world to me that you guys are here. And, you know, yes, Chris Persia, if you've not seen Conspiracy Theory, it's worth the time. And even if you have, it's still worth a rewatch. Outcast Creatives, if we get a guest on our channel who has worked with Donner, you can come and be a co-host on that episode for sure. Oh my God. And yes, he was lovely. Hit me up. I'll probably just simp the whole time. I'll just be like fawning over said person. Absolutely love that. That makes my heart so happy. You know, they say never meet your heroes, but I feel like Richard Donner would have been the exception to the rule. I really do. This has been a blast. Guys, I have done 2 streams today. I did a 6 a.m. stream. We started a little bit late. I did a 6 a.m. Central Time stream with Stig Kenobi this morning. We did our Blockbuster archive, and we covered Conan and An Officer and a Gentleman. So it was Conan the Barbarian, I should say, not Conan the Destroyer. It was Conan the Barbarian and An Officer and a Gentleman. And we got to talk about a lot of different things this morning. We did our facts, and it really just, the stream sort of took on a life of its own, and it was a lot of fun. But Conan the Barbarian got a 9 from both myself and Stig, and An Officer and a Gentleman got a 7. So you know, those are also excellent films for you to go check out and enjoy, that are wonderful escapism in the meantime. If you're looking for more recommendations, I'm always here for you. Yes, Legionist, the 1982 version of Conan the Barbarian. As Blockbuster Archives, we go by years. So our first episode was 1980, and we did Raging Bull and Alligator. And then our episode 2 was 1981. And it was Dragon Slayer and Das Boot. And then, of course, episode 3 was this morning, and that was Conan the Barbarian and An Officer and a Gentleman from 1982. So lots of great stuff out there for you guys to watch, to enjoy, to listen to escape into, because we need it. If you never left reality and we're always stuck to like the wheel of perpetual pain, and anybody who's seen 1982 Conan the Barbarian will totally get that reference. It's you just need to you need to break away every once in a while, just for a bit of respite. You know, Tolkien said that if a soldier was held captive, would we not want him to break free? And you can't live in escapism either. You can't spend your life there, because then you'll lose touch with reality. But you need both for your sanity. You need those breaks from reality. You need that escapism. And you need to stay grounded in reality and realize that you have responsibilities and you have these things that you need to do. And there are real world things that need to be taken care of. And sometimes you're the only one that can do it. So it's just, there's so many wonderful things out there for you to read, watch, listen to. You'll be able to find it, I promise. And if you can't, hit me up. I am always happy to be like, well, what is it that you're looking for? And I swear that we will find it for you. I promise. I really do truly appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. It means a lot. And I am going to go ahead, call it a night. Go ahead and watch Conspiracy Theory and watch the net for next week. And we're going to have ourselves a fantastic time. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Mwah.